Welcome back! A new season starts and we are... Oh, sorry. Everyone! Hi! Welcome back to a new Hints and Theories video. Welcome back to a new season of Wie is de Mol. It is the 23rd season. My name is Julia and I produce Hints and Theories videos in English for an international community. You are very welcome to join us wherever you are from, and together we will try to figure out who the mole is. I will post a video on each Sunday, and if you want to make sure to not miss any videos or in general any updates on Wie is de Mol and other de Mol seasons, then make sure to subscribe and also follow me on Instagram, because there you will get some other updates as well, and not only the updates on the new videos, like for example other hints, other news. And yeah, before we get to the hints and theories of episode number 1 of season 23, I want to show you something that arrived here on Thursday. I was already afraid that it wouldn't make it here in time, but it is here. It's the official Mole book here of the season, so the Mole book of 2023. For everyone who doesn't know what a Mole book is, it is an official book, notepad more or less, released by the producers of Wie is de Mol, and there's some information in it about the season, about the candidates, also interviews with the finalists of last year. So if you want to have a closer look inside of this, because there's some interesting information in it, and there are also some discussions going on about information which is in here, then let me know in the comments below and I will produce an extra video about that. By the way, I bought it myself. Not anything sponsored here, I bought it and I hope that it would be here in time, because it had to come from the Netherlands all the way to my home. Now, we dive right into episode number 1. First of all, I want to say that I think this season started a bit more with a, well, happy mood, I would say, compared to last season, where we had like really a darker theme, a more mysterious start with the moss ball and all of that stuff. I think this was more of an uplifting mood this time. The first thing we get to know, and we also really kind of jump right into action in this episode, is that room with the telephone in it, where the candidates meet for the first time and get to know if they are a candidate or the mole. And of course they all try to keep their poker face when everyone calls. Some of them, well, do it more in a calmer way, I would say, and some of them are more dramatic. I want to know if you think they did a good job on doing their poker face or not, so let me know what you think about their poker faces. And also keep the word poker face in mind, because we will get back to that in a few minutes, and it could probably be something more important in this season. We will see. When they arrived in South Africa, the first task was the one with the boxes. And if you've watched my video about something exciting going on in the Netherlands, then you already know the boxes. If not, then you can of course still rewatch that video, because in December, I think, was it, or was it November? Well, definitely last year there was a very interesting, very fun way to figure out who the candidates are, and the boxes were part of, well, that big riddle in the middle of the Netherlands. Now we have that boxes again, and we have 5 groups, 2 candidates in each box, and they have to find their way out and get to the correct place. There are 2 things we need to talk about concerning that task. The first thing is that Aniek gives wrong answers several times, And well, it doesn't really work out, I would say. The first thing was the one with the square meters, which, well, was a wrong way to count that up, so they were supposed to count them all together, and she divided something and, well, a mess. And the second thing was that they asked who moved out at the age of 15, so out of their parents' home. And she said yes, it was me, and then Soy right next to her says like, no, it was me. So basically she tried to give a wrong answer there, but the one who actually was it was standing right next to her. So that was actually kind of a little accident that happened there, because if she would have been in another box, then it would have probably worked out. But yeah, it seems like she tried to mole there and it didn't really work out. The second thing about this task is that we have Nabil and Ranomi in one box, and when they finally have someone outside of the box who's willing to help them, they ask that person to switch on the light. Which is of course the first thing you need to do, you need to see something in that box. And if I remember correctly, then that person says like, how do I do that? And they basically give that person the key for the map. So they have that key inside of their box and they give it to that person, and that person unlocks the map. Which is something that actually isn't needed in that moment. It's not bad, but it isn't needed. And that leads to the following situation. They need to know which color their box has. And they get to know that by counting the colored dots on the outside of the box. So the person outside of the box counts the colored dots and then says like, okay, most dots are blue or green or black and so on. By unlocking that map, 2 blue dots are covered. So the person who counts needs to remember that there are 2 covered dots that need to be counted as well. That leads to the situation that either those dots are forgotten, which then could probably lead to the fact that they do not get to know their right color. So they were blue, maybe then another colored dot would have been the most one. Or, second situation, it would have taken more time. Let's say there were 2 colors with an equal amount of dots, then of course the person outside would have to remember, okay, there were 2 dots covered by that map, we need to count it as well. Definitely it is a way, a possible way to mold there. I'm not sure if that is the only reason why Nabil and Ranomi didn't make it out of the box. Maybe they also didn't, got all the answers to their questions or knew all the answers, but it definitely is a possible way to mold there. Now to task number 2 and that beautiful gospel choir and that beautiful singing there. It was a really awesome music task, I think. And I have a question for you concerning that task. If you were the mole, in which group would you like to be? The one with the singing or the one with the music quizzes? Let me know that in the comments, because I think in this certain task it's not such an easy decision for a mole. Well, I do not want to talk that much about the singing group because I think there are several ways you can mole there. You can sing either too loud, too quiet, or you can just pronounce things wrong. Really possibilities there. But the group with the music quizzes, we need to talk about them. About Nabil again in this task. One of the music quizzes was that the English lyrics were translated into Dutch and then a computer voice read them out loud. And Nabil said that one of those songs was Bad Romance by Lady Gaga. But some fans figured out that it actually was Poker Face. And here we are again with our Poker Face. So we have had the word Poker Face in the, well, more or less task 1, the one where they met in that room and got to know who they are. It wasn't really a task, but it is kind of counted like that. There was the term Poker Face, then we have the song Poker Face, and you also need to know that the production, so the Widm team uploaded the Moller Citazi several weeks ago on their YouTube channel. So this is like the interview they do before they get part of the show. And Soy, in that video, said that he has a good poker face. So maybe we need to keep the word poker face in the back of our minds, because it is possible that it will return sooner or later. We will definitely see if that is something interesting that we need to keep in mind. And one more thing about Aniek in this task. She is a singer, a professional one. And this is why she decided to do the task with keeping the tone A for 15 seconds. And she didn't manage to do that. Now, since she's a professional singer, you would assume that she's able to do that. And I watched the Mole Talk yesterday evening, which is like a talk show right after Widm. So it is broadcasted right after Widm, and in that talk show they talk about that episode and what happened in there. And they also talked about Aniek and that tone A, and they were like, okay, maybe she was nervous. And when you're nervous, then you do not have that much air, and then it is harder to keep a tone for 15 seconds. I understand that, but they also tried it out right there in the Mole Talk, and they managed to keep it for 15 seconds and even a bit longer. So yeah, not sure if she's trying to more there, again, just like in the task with the boxes. In general, I have to say, so far, Aniek is my Kim Lian of that season. That was the first thing I thought about her after watching episode 1. It's a bit of a mixture of René and Kim Lian, so of how they behaved in their seasons. But yeah, really a bit of Kim Lian-like acting. Or what do you think? 2 more things we need to talk about concerning episode number 1. The first thing is that, and you probably know that I personally love those scenes, we didn't really have any scenes outside of tasks. So scenes in which we see them interact outside of a task, like traveling scenes in a bus, or where they have breakfast together, or dinner, or where they just share a room in a hotel. We do not know who shares a room with whom, we do not even know where they stayed. I personally always like those scenes because it shows us how they interact with each other. And yeah, it wasn't really there in episode number 1. I really hope that there will be some of those scenes in the upcoming episodes, but yeah, definitely a more task-focused episode number 1. And yes, of course, we need to talk about the elephant in the room, about Sarah. She's out, but then again, not really out. So, the first thing we need to talk about is that she actually is out of the game. She saw a red screen and she left the group. But, of course, we know that she got the call and she has the chance to come back. Now, there are things that kind of prove that she's a candidate and not the mole. The first thing is that she saw the red screen, and I personally always thought that if you see a red screen, then it means that you are not the mole. You maybe have a chance to come back. But then again, in the Mole Talk yesterday, someone said, well, is the rule actually that the mole never sees a red screen? Or isn't it the mole never leaves the group? That left me wondering a bit, because actually she kind of left the group, but she can return, and it's a mess. And the second thing that actually could prove that she isn't the mole is that in the official Widm app, where you can play the guessing game, as I will call it right now, you can put points on the candidates who make it to the next week. So the idea is to put points onto your mole, but in the first weeks, of course, a lot of people spread their points on people they assume would make it to the next week. And I did put some points on Sarah because I thought, like, She sounds like a nice candidate and I'm sure she makes it to week number 2. Yeah, I lost the points. So I put 25 points on here and I lost them. And also her photo in the app is black and white now, so actually it's a colored photo, and once the candidate is out of the game they replace it with a black and white one. So that would mean she's out and she's definitely not the mole. The question is when she's able to return back. Why did they kind of steal my points? So we will see if she makes it back into the game and if I get my points back, but that would make it even more of a mess and even more complicated. Now I said there are 2 things. The first thing were the reasons why she's not the mole, and now we need to talk about the second thing, which is a theory why she could still be the mole. That idea is that Sarah was by far the candidate who earned the most money in episode number 1. She was part of one of the groups who made it to the right location in the task with the boxes, and she also was the one who earned the most money in the singing task. And we know that she has the chance to come back next week by playing money out of the pot. Now wouldn't it be a great idea for a mole to earn as much money as possible in episode number 1 to gain trust and then have the chance to play the money out of the pot in episode number 2? That is an idea that is going on in the Widm community at the moment. I think so far we have 2 groups of people. One group who says she can't be the mole anymore, she had a red screen, she was out of the group, and the second group of people who still think that there's a chance that she could be the mole. Definitely let me know in which group you belong. And yeah, that were all hints and theories so far for episode number 1. Let me know if you've seen anything suspicious as well, and also what you think about those hints and theories, and also what is your opinion on this new season so far. Share all your thoughts and ideas with me in the comments. I always love to read them and to react to them. If you want to make sure not to miss any further hints and theories videos, then don't forget to subscribe, follow me on Instagram for more updates, and I really hope that we are going to figure out who's the mole all together. Until next week, bye!